Just a second, sorry.
So, yeah, the book was published in 2018, making it relatively new from human perspective and not so outdated from technological standpoint. The book is about the future of personal transportation, and the author describes this future quite fascinating. Next slide. Who is he? He is Lawrence Burns, and he worked in Detroit in General Motors for 30 years, which is quite a time span. His position in the company changed within the time, but mainly he was the head of research and development department, and his department made quite an, impressive stuff. I will show you a couple of things lately. He left the company in 2010 and devoted a whole section in the book describing his life in Detroit, his work experience in General Motors, and explaining why he eventually left. So nowadays he is, sorry, there is no chance that I will remember that. He is a professor of engineering practice at the University of Michigan, director of program for sustainable mobility at Columbia University, and an advisor for several major companies, including Google at some point. So, next slide. Okay, let's devote 1 minute to discussion. Which one? Let's discuss what's wrong with the automobile industry we all know. Try to remember your experience of driving a car, or riding a taxi, or just browsing the busy street from the window. What have you noticed? What you don't like? Здрасте. Опоздавший.
Закройте, пожалуйста. Close the door, please.
If you do not understand. Okay. So, somebody.
Pollution.
Pollution. What else? Safety. It's pretty dangerous. Nice.
Traffic jams.
What?
Traffic jams.
Traffic jams. Exactly.
You need a person who will drive you.
What?
You need a person. If you don't have rights, you need a person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's true, and we will speak about it in the section of driverless cars. So, next slide. So, Mr. Burns refers to the automobile as the most underused asset. And here is some facts. So, less than 30% energy of gasoline is used to move a vehicle. Much. The average speed in the crowded city full of traffic is about 20 kilometers per hour, which, I don't know, the standard car may travel in a speed of 200 and beyond. Most vehicles have room for 5 people, but most of the time it transports only 1 person. And yeah, we use car in average 5% the whole time, which means that the rest of 95% it should be stored somewhere, where garages, parking lots, we put asphalt everywhere in the city, increasing the average temperature of the city environment. So next slide, please. So based on this observation, let's imagine the future of transportation. How you personally would like the future transportation to look like?
Without driver.
Nice one. Like 5 elements, you know?
Teleportation.
Oh, teleportation, that's nice.
Also teleportation.
Yeah.
Friendly to the environment.
Yeah, friendly to the environment. Yeah, that's
Teleportation is friendly to the environment.
As far as we don't know exact technology, it could be.
especially if you teleport someone to somewhere else. That's nice. So, okay, good. Next slide. So the author highlights three trends of a new form of transportation market. It's transportation as a service, which is supposed to help to transition customer from personal ownership of a car to ride sharing, like renting systems, renting a car, or I don't know, sharing rides. There are various of different applications as services nowadays, we know, especially in St. Petersburg, like BlaBlaCar, Delimobil, Yandex Drive, and so on and so forth. So basically it should help to reduce the price for transportation and allow the customer to pay in numerous ways, by trip, by distance, by monthly subscription, and many more. The electrification of motor vehicles. Electric vehicles are easier to manufacture, and of course they do not rely on oil energy. Oil energy is not only contribute to ecological problems but also to political ones. The driverless technology. Driverless technology is supposed to make personal transportation available for everybody, despite the skills or abilities. Plus, it's supposed to make our transportation more effective from time perspective and I don't know, energy perspective, and of course make it safer. So, next slide. Next slide. Okay, so let's speak about, maybe not, maybe I will tell a bit more about the introduction. So let's go back to the trends. So we see these nice three trends, and it looks pretty simple and obvious, but why we're not still there? So in his book, Mr. Lawrence Burns, he discusses human values and how they change over time. He discusses economical and political influences. The book also covers the topic of the confrontation of the new and old worlds, Detroit and Silicon Valley. It covers the topics of competition of engineers within the projects, and of course about the money and how money, which part money takes in all of these dynamics. So this book offers you a lot to think about. It is full of names, but I show you these names will stick in your mind, because Lawrence Burns, he's like a good old, warm-hearted man. He can be quite sentimental, and he speaks about certain people with great respect and affection. I actually valued that during the reading because it helped me to draw into the story emotionally. So yeah, but yeah, enough this introduction. Let's go to the interesting part. Let's speak about driverless cars as one of the trends. Next. No one wants the text, I just forgot to delete this slide. Okay, so the great story of autonomous vehicles is depicted in DARPA challenges. DARPA stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. This is a research organization of US Department of Defense, basically US Army. So they created a number of challenges to spur the development of autonomous vehicles. And let's say the ultimate goal of it was to make 1/3 of military ground forces autonomous by the 2015. Not sure that they accomplished it, but that was the goal. So the first competition of DARPA Grand Challenge happened in 2004 in Mojave Desert, which is quite harsh environment. So there were a lot of competitors, but I will tell about two main participants, Stanford University and Carnegie Mellon University. So let's move to the next slide. Carnegie Mellon University team, red team, created this autonomous vehicle called Sandstorm. So actually it was the, I don't know how to say it in English, favorite car of the race, and it traveled the farthest distance on the race. So let's observe how it saw the world, how it navigated. So it was packed with GPS data, motion tracking tools, stereo vision system, and several types of LiDAR devices. Like the devices, you may see this round globe, and it has the main LiDAR inside. And LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging. Basically, its job to shoot beam of lights and sense when they bounce back and analyze it, and send the information to the computer to analyze this information. I guess if you have robot vacuum cleaners, somebody? Yeah, with this weird round stuff on the top, it's LiDAR. So yeah, so basically you know how it works. Unfortunately, LiDARs and all sorts of cameras have troubles to penetrate the dust clouds, which of course may appear in the desert. It's desert, it's full of dust. So Carnegie Mellon team also installed a radar system which used sounds to detect obstacles. Unfortunately, none of the vehicles finished the race of first DARPA challenge. It was quite a huge stuff. Nobody won the prize, $1 million. Yeah, but luckily, the results were impressive enough to announce the next challenge. Next, please. Yeah. So, Team Carnegie Mellon upgraded Sandstorm, but decided to double the chances and added one more vehicle called Highlander. To be short, the main tactic for Sandstorm was to play slow and safe. Meanwhile, Highlander is supposed to be fast and furious. Another noticeable participant is Stanley, this blue one. Stanley was made by Stanford University team in cooperation with Volkswagen's research laboratory, and it was less geared with hardware. So you usually can see that there is a difference between the stuffs that puts on the car, but there is an interesting part. Next slide. So Carnegie Mellon's team leader was Rhett Whittaker, and Rhett Whittaker is an American roboticist and professor of robotics at the Carnegie Mellon University. He is a tough engineer. He has military ethos, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. So, yeah, this guy actually led the team who developed robots to clean up the mess in Chernobyl after the catastrophe of 1986. So, on the other hand, we have Sebastian Thrun, the professor of computer science of Stanford University. And Sebastian Thrun, his fields are artificial intelligence, and robotics as well. But his philosophy was to treat autonomous transportation as a software problem. So on one hand, we have more hardware guy, on the other, more software guy. So you wonder who won? To have an answer to this question, you may Google it, or watch a short documentary movie on YouTube. The link will be in the presentation about the challenges. It's an impressive one, I encourage you. But if you would like to know who really won, read the book. So, okay, another great story. Like sliding, I'm so sorry. So, another great story of autonomous vehicles is the Google project Chauffeur. Nowadays, it's known as Waymo. So, this project gathered best minds of DARPA challenges, Sebastian Thrun, Anthony Lewandowski, Chris Umson, and many more. And basically it was launched in 2010, but was hidden from public for 2 years. In 2012, Toyota Prius, renovated to be autonomous vehicle, was licensed by, let me find by whom, by Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles, making it the first licensed autonomous vehicle. In 2014, they launched a next autonomous car, which called Firefly, this white one. It had no gas pedal, no brake pedal, no steering wheel, making it absolutely autonomous. Yeah, Firefly, next slide. In 2018, the company launched the self-driving car service called Waymo One. The service is now available at Phoenix, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. The YouTube is full of reviews and some videos about this service, so if you would like to check how it works, here you go. Next one. In 2020, the Waymo team launched its tracking and local delivery program called Waymo Via. And again, the usage is limited by territory. Why so? The development of driverless cars is quite challenging project. So let's, next slide please, let's observe key challenges of developing driverless cars. First of all, safety. Development team should ensure that autonomous vehicles can operate safely in all situations. Regulations, especially for America, that's crucial. There should be clear and comprehensive rules and regulations regarding safety standards, licensing, insurance, and liability for autonomous vehicles. Of course, technical complexity, because autonomous vehicles require complex software algorithms to handle the large amount of data, to process it, to make vehicle being able to make complex decisions and adapt to unpredictable road situations. Cybersecurity. Autonomous vehicles should be protected from potential hacking, malicious interferences to keep customers safe and private. Infrastructure. So infrastructure is supposed to be adapted for autonomous vehicles to support it. There should be communication between autonomous vehicles, infrastructure, and stakeholders. Public acceptance. Okay, if people do not feel safe riding in driverless cars, nobody will use it. So, trust and acceptance should be built in the public field. Ethical decisions making. Okay, it needs to be determined how driverless cars should make difficult ethical choices on the road. The question that I am human, sometimes unable to solve, but nevertheless. Adapting to weather condition, and this is one of the reasons why using the Waymo vehicles is territory restricted, because there should be considered weather conditions, so the vehicle should be able to behave normally under every condition. Snow, wind, fog, blizzard. I barely can imagine how, I don't know, a vehicle that is adapted to drive Arizona for some reason will be in Saratov. Sorry. That's even a bit sad. Okay. So going through all these challenges takes time and a lot of effort. And this book actually contains a lot of interesting cases which engineers solved. Okay, but let's move to the next trend, the electrification of motor vehicles. This cutie called was called EV1. It was launched by General Motors in 1996, which is 15 years earlier than Tesla's first car, Roadster. So, still not the first electrical car on the planet, but it was a significant one. It was loved by engineers and customers. It was initially available only through lease agreements. It was two-seat coupe with lead-acid battery pack that could go 80 kilometers per charge. And the author admits that these are not so impressive numbers, but for its time it was quite amazing. So, what are the advantages? Environmental benefits. So EV1 was fully electrical, so it wasn't relying on oil energy, so there is no pollution. Energy efficiency. Electric vehicles, including EV1, much more energy effective than internal combustion engine vehicles, like conventional vehicles. Quiet and smooth operation. So it was the most highlighted topic in the customer reviews, that driving felt like quiet and smooth. And of course, public interest in awareness. As I said, EV1 had pretty warm welcome. But so why we are not enjoying electric cars from General Motors nowadays? What went wrong? To be short, everything went wrong. From advertisement to US government decision. And Lawrence Burns took a significant part in development of EV1, and I guess seeing it being murdered the way it was murdered, yes, it was quite devastating. I have no other word than murder in this case, because the story is quite hideous. I encourage you to watch the documentary called Who Killed the Electric Car, which depicts the story of EV1. But yeah, life goes on. And we go on the next slide. Yeah, so in 2002, General Motors presented the new concept car on the American Auto Show in Detroit. So how it started? Mr. Burns' boss, he went to him, he asked him a question. Yeah, what a car would look like if it were invented today. And it was a great research and development initiative, and as a result, we see this weird cart-size skateboard stuff on the first picture. So, what it had? It had electric motors in all four wheels, fuel cell stack, hydrogen storage system, controls and heat exchangers were embedded within. So this skateboard, let's say, housed all the mechanical and powertrain parts, produced no exhaust, except water because it is hydrogen. And it looks quite intriguing. So a bit later, out came a new variation, not variation, how do you say, an upgraded version of AUTONOMY which looks more like recognizable vehicle for us. So I guess the main concept was that you are able to put whatever campus you want, how many seats you would like. So it's pretty adjustable because all the operating stuff is inside the skateboard part. And that's it. So, knowing all of that, let's move to the next slide. Do we have time? 5 minutes maybe?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, I would like to offer you a brain exercise. After a number of researches and developments, engineers of General Motors made the conclusion that electric vehicle needs 10 times less details for an electric vehicle than conventional automobile. So let's think, what are these numbers telling us? What are advantages, disadvantages? What do you see in these numbers? 0, I see 0.
At university in German literature, so nothing.
Okay. Don't worry.
Maybe, it was my question, but I think it's related. So, supposedly making electric vehicles would take less people.
Great.
Thank you.
That's correct.
And also, if it's so simple, contains so less amount of details, it should be easy to operate, easy to service, repair, whatever. It should be like a big washing machine. It doesn't require a few years of education to handle it.
Yeah.
But why is it so expensive? If it's less details.
Because it's total mass market for now. So, okay, you said everything absolutely right. Less details means less people, less details, less price. It's easier to manufacture, it's cheaper to manufacture on the long run, of course. When you have mass market, everything becomes cheaper. Also, that means that less people will have jobs. And the focus of expertise moved from mechanical to software one. Yay! So,
If a person, let's imagine person died because of crash, who will be responsible for it? Developer. So,
Oh,
like,
in the book there are a lot of examples with Tesla cars, and there is a lot of death because people were using autopilot supporter, and there are, I don't know about circumstances for Tesla about it, but obviously there should be, but maybe it depends on the level of autonomy of the vehicle, because there are different levels of autonomy. Currently we have the vehicles who can operate like a supporter. For example, if you are a guy who works on the truck and you have lots of cargo to move from city to city, and you may use this system which will help you, but there are rules. You should put your hands on the wheel, you should be able to anytime. Yeah, I see this often is nodding, so you need to be able to take control whenever it's necessary. Basically the same autonomous setup is in Tesla cars, but some customers, let's say, tested it as an advanced autonomy, let's say driverless system, so people were just like, I rely on you, and of course sometimes it ended up not nicely. Who is responsible? This is one of the topics of challenges of developing the car. I said before, the regulations, law regulations, liabilities, and so on and so forth. So this is quite complex. In the book, there is a discussion of engineers about, let's say, they had a conflict. One engineer wanted to release the car as soon as possible, driverless car, and the other said, we are not ready, we are not sure that it is safe, because it takes time to solve this complex stuff. Of course, you may do it by layers and layers, but you need to assure your customers that if you're using autopilot support, it's support. You have specific rules you need to follow if you're not willing to die. Sorry, I don't know how to say it more correctly. But yes. Maybe it's a good topic to check Waymo, because the book was released in 2018, making it that it was maybe went to the redactorship earlier, and Waymo launched their vehicles in 2018, and in the restricted area still they are quite limited in the usage, so maybe they have some, I don't know, for sure they have some regulations for that, so maybe it's the point that you, for example, can tell us later. Okay. But yeah, you're right, it's quite complex. Okay, I will end my narrative here. Next slide. The quote from the book. One thing is certain, we are heading for the interesting times. Enjoy the ride. I guess it's the best. I
have a question. Speaking of what you said before, does the author talk about the issue with layoffs, for example? If there are driverless cars, autonomous cars, so many people are left without jobs. Does he speak about it, or is it just the future is so beautiful, let's not think about it?
Of course he speaks about it, but how to say, the Lawrence Burns, he is a mathematician, and he good in calculating who will be outstage at certain points, and of course that will happen. But you know, this is the topic about While I will lose my job if ChatGPT will start to program. I will lose my job if everybody will start to move the vehicles, but I am a guy who have horses. For example, I'm selling the horses, and nobody needs horses when you have vehicles. Time changes, and you will change your profession as well. Unfortunately, that's the one of the circumstances of progress. It will happen. People who will lose the job on one field will find a job in another field. There is no choice.
It is.
Enjoy the ride.
I will invite you to some meetings. Sometimes the students.
Don't be so high.
Yeah, he's my Scrum Master.
Oh, really?
Yes. I am not the boss.
You are Scrum Master, you are Scrum Master, you're not a
No, questionable. Okay.
She's our boss.
Any questions?
What thing you didn't like in the future? Or like less?
Let's say I'm more about shady personalities, and of course this field is full of scandals. And there were one scandal, but it was described so slightly, but it is interesting. There was a guy, Anthony Lewandowski, he has participated in data challenges. He made autonomous motorbike. He called it Ghost Rider, and he is a guy with great mind but shady personality, let's say. And he was the guy who wanted to launch Chauffeur as soon as possible to make money from it, but he faced the, let's say, disagreement from the other engineers, and he created a small, not small, okay, quarrel, and engineers were divided by the teams, and some people left the Google to join Lewandowski in his new project, and Lewandowski still the sensitive information from Google, and he was put in jail for 18 months. So that was the interesting part. But all of that I knew from the Google, from the news and the book. Lawrence Burns is a really heartwarmed old man. He just didn't want to put too much attention over, problems of people's personalities. But I love that. I love scandals. More scandals, more interesting.
If this book will be written today, what will be added?
What will be added? From my point of view, book is perfect. I don't know what to, maybe only new information, new insights, and there was really interesting to learn about the attempts to create, I don't know, vehicles that use hydrogen in, I don't know, in the start of 20th century. As far as I know, the engine itself, which used hydrogen, was invented in 1926 by some enthusiast. Just, those type of stories when you read, and the guy was a merchant, and one day he decided, I will do something, and he created an engine. Why not? That's fascinating.
What's the meaning of having free time?
After reading this book, do you want to drive driverless car?
Do you want to drive in general?
Of course, I want. I have license. I love to drive. But yeah, I will be happy enjoy driverless technologies because I like to write more than drive. So I'm like, I'm hypnotized by looking at the window. I can spend all my time just doing that and nothing else. And yeah, with driverless vehicles, that would be nice. I will pay all my money and just ride all the time looking at the window. Like that's it. Cost.
Will you share with that presentation with link? Because you said,
On the last slide, there are links.
yeah.
And if Losha will be so nice, he can just forward it to the presentation to our group. Yeah, so the first one is a short movie about the challenge on YouTube. The second is we built the electric car, and it's available on on Hulu, on Prime. I watched it in Apple TV. But yeah, send links about demo to look at their projects, their vehicles. They have nice website. I really enjoyed to browse it around. It was cute. And yeah, a link to Lawrence Burns. Because through the book, I was just, I don't know, I like this guy. He's nice, and the book he wrote, it was nice to read, nice to explore. It wasn't complicated. I'm not the person who is interested about tech stuff much, but still that was enjoyable. That's it. Okay, good. Let's go to drink water.
Let's make some short break.